Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very, very much. This is the your forecast for the Saturday forecast for October 3rd. It is a timeless forecast, so it's not necessarily only intended for the 3rd of October. It's intended for whenever you actually see it. So you don't have to turn it off if it's not October 3rd. You can still watch it, and potentially there may be some guidance or insight support in this reading for you. But for those of you that are regular viewers, this is for you on Saturday the 3rd. We're building on all of the readings that we've seen this week and kind of what's going on. If there's anything in here that does not resonate with you, that's completely fine. Do not worry. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It's just you might be working on something different than the greater collective. And if you decide to make any decisions in your life from after having seen this reading, those decisions would be your responsibility. So keeping that in mind. All right, so let's see what's going on, guys. I'm going to shuffle one more time because that was the weirdest cut. I was going to cut the deck and it just kind of fell apart. So one shuffle. What is going on there? There we go. That's a nice cut. All right. Okay, so we have Flannery O'Connor, Humanity. So this is one of the literary witches in the deck. These are like sort of to me how even though this is an oracle deck, I sort of see these women as, in my opinion, the major arcana, right? They're a little bit more important than some of the symbols that are in the latter part of the deck. I don't know a lot about Flannery O'Connor. Humanity. Let me just look at this for a minute. I love that she has this sort of broken egg in her hand. And remember our grounding stone this week was that word nature at the beginning of the week, where I was talking about us finding our own sort of like a better understanding of our own nature, how we interact with our world, how we connect to our world. I like that this is the last card for this week, which is sort of humanity, in the sense that it kind of brings us to this place of, where do we connect into our world? The broken egg kind of feels like, I hate to get stuck on this, but it sort of feels like the state of how each of us are seeing the world right now, quite possibly. Understanding the fragility of everything, trying to hold on, like kind of weighing. I like how she has one hand on the peacock and one hand is holding the broken egg. To me, it sort of feels like, is the glass half full or is the glass half empty, right? Are we seeing fragile and broken, or are we seeing beautiful and grand and extravagant? Where do we fall on that? That's what this is making me think of. Also, the semicircular thing here makes me think of the world. And then we have this tree growing up out of it, but the tree has no leaves, right? There's like sort of, like, I'm almost getting sort of a little bit of a sad vibe from this card, in the sense that, are we seeing the world as alive and beautiful and full of color and hope, or are we seeing it as broken, fragile, and in need of repair, right? And where do we fit into that entire picture? Part of the reason why I say that is that not only the nature stone from earlier this week, but yesterday we had that sort of white dress card, and the day before was the wall, where we're kind of going back and forth between pulling back, which would be the wall, or, being visible, which to me was the white dress reading from yesterday. And so I think that what I do like about this card is she's sort of in the center of the picture. Those glasses make me think of her intelligence, right? Or her her intelligence, basically, like just being smart about everything, being discerning, paying attention to everything, looking at things maybe from a grander scale or a greater whole, and trying to see where maybe the truth lies. Trying to find, are things in our world maybe suffering, or are they being appreciated. And I think that there's truth in both, right? The broken egg and the peacock are both very real, but how do we interact with those things? Where do we, and again, that brings us back to that nature stone, where do we sort of plug into the world amidst all of this stuff? And how do we plug into the world, right? And into humanity? How do we support ourselves amidst everything that's going on? And how do we support others during this time? Remember, underneath this, the underpinning card from from Sunday was the Emperor. And so, to me, there's that authority, that discernment, that requirement or expectation. And the expectations may be high, right? But they're, set with sort of love and benevolence and kindness. But we want better, right? We desire better, we expect better, not only from ourselves, but maybe from those around us. So where do we find that is kind of the feeling that I get from this card, right? Where do we create that for ourselves? Where is the fine middle ground between this sort of peacock and the egg? Also, the egg and the peacock kind of make me think of cycles, right? Like, because an egg or a peacock would be born from an egg. So even sort of out of this tragedy or this sort of broken, fragile state, we could grow to something quite beautiful, grand, and gorgeous. Again, we just need to believe that that's happening. And that could be on a, like, not only a humanity level, like on a global level, but that could be also on our own personal level too, right? Where as we embrace the wisdoms and our true nature, the things about ourselves that we've sort of been talking about this week, as we start to look at them, impartially, intelligently, with that sort of, I don't want to say disaffected or unaffected, but that, like, the emperor's not messy in his thoughts. He's direct, he's clean, he's benevolent, he's loving, but his expectations are high, and he deserves exactly what he expects, right? So as we look at ourselves in that manner, with a fairer, more intelligent eye, how do we see ourselves? How are we seeing humanity? Where is that fitting into our world, right? So let's look at this. So we have, oh, I forgot my glasses. This is the heaven moon. Is that what that says? And this is creation. Let me grab my glasses really quick because I'm going to have to read this and I don't want to mess this up. One moment. Sorry, guys. Heaven moon. Is that what that says? Let me just double check and make sure that... Oh, I'm sorry. It's the beaver moon. I said heaven. Oh my god, that's silly. All right, beaver moon. Let's see what the beaver has to say. Leave it to beaver. What's going on here? There's, okay, so we have, the word is creation. I love that we have these rolled up plans. I love that we have this moon here in front of her face at her third eye and her crown. This woman is contemplating, right? And when I look at creation in sort of conjunction with Flannery O'Connor and her bird and egg theory, or the story that I've created around this, it makes me think, what are we creating? What are our perceptions creating? Where are we locking in? Where are we sort of connecting in? How are we viewing ourselves? Because those are sort of the things that we are creating ultimately. This is a number 12, I believe. 9 and 3 is 12. That makes a 3, which would be mind, body, spirit. I think that we need to kind of look at all 3 aspects of the self, look at all 3 sort of, perceptions. How are we treating our mind? How are we treating our body? How are we treating our spirit, right? Are we honoring it as the beautiful creature that it is, or are we looking at it more as a broken, frail, possibly cracked being, right? How does that connect into the grander scheme of things, the greater picture, all of that stuff is sort of laying the plans out for this, maybe the rest of the year to come, or even the year to follow. All of us are working on this not only individually, but we're also working on this collectively, as a collective, right? So if, everybody on one side of the aisle and the other side of the aisle all believes the world is fucked, well then, you know what? The world's probably going to continue being just as wonky as it's been, right? So we have to start somewhere, I believe, at this more smaller, more personal level of ourselves, and embrace ourselves, embrace the creation that we can sort of manifest and give attention to, and find as much belief and as much beauty within ourselves, as much intelligence, capability, whatever that may be for you within ourselves, in the mind body spirit connection, and in our ability to create, so that we can bring something like maybe the best possible version of ourselves to the greater picture, right? Let's go to the grounding stone and see what the grounding stone is. The grounding stone is dream. When I think of dream in this case, it's not necessarily the night sort of imaginations that send us messages from spirit. To me, with this creation card, even the humanity card, it makes me think about what are our dreams for our highest sort of outcome right now. You know, even if that's just sort of personal to us, right? What would it feel like to dream and to dream big? You know, does that mean that life goes back to normal? But if life were to go back to normal, what would normal look like for you? Or what would be a better normal than what we had before? What can we create differently this time? Right? Since so much has been sort of, shaken up and dislodged, right? What can we sort of, begin to work towards? And, with some awareness, begin to create something new, a new like sort of space, dream, interaction, a new nature within us, maybe even that allows us to connect in to our world and humanity, and where we, what's the word? Where we sort of exchange who we are and share what we are with the world. How do we enhance that? How do we make that better? So I would, ground in the dream of the possibility of that and all of the creation that exists within that, and know that you sort of have the power, the intelligence, the beauty, the capability, and even the fragility. The egg, it being cracked open there and being fragile and stuff. Eggs are also a sign of birth, right, and creation. So from some of this more darker times or whatever, really beautiful things can be born. We need to remember that too, and remember to, continue to dream in that way. And like basically, sort of when I look at these the two cards in the stone, it's kind of like all hope is not lost, guys. Right? There's it's just we're kind of moving through some major shifts in probably not only at the world stage, right, at the world level, but within our own personal worlds too. Right? So as we kind of attend to our personal world, we will find that we will probably interact with the rest of humanity or the environment around us, our day-to-day lives, differently each and every time as we move through this phase. But keeping that in mind, and remaining in the state of dreaming bigger for better, desiring for more. It's out there and it's available to you, for all of us, really. All right, so let me find these cards and I will read them to you really quick. Flannery O'Connor. Where is she? Humanity. Who we are, reckoning with failure, redemption. Flannery O'Connor, who lived from 1925 to 1964, wrote cutting, hilarious, and secretly devoutly Catholic stories about the Deep South. Growing up in Georgia, O'Connor loved chickens and knit coats for her fowl. After graduating from the Iowa Writers' Workshop and hitting her stride in fiction, she contracted lupus and moved back in with her mother. She populated their farm with more than 40 peacocks, so she was a peacock farmer. Interesting. So that's Flannery's story, but I feel like the message Flannery is giving us is, where do we fit into the world, and how do we... It's interesting that she contracted lupus, and we're all sort of dealing with COVID right now. It's sort of such the craziness around us surrounding that. I think that a lot of that takes much more of a toll on us in our psyche than we realize. And we might need to sort of, go easy on ourselves especially, but also go easy on others too, because everybody's kind of going through this together right now. The beaver moon is creation. You can create your own destiny. Be industrious. Every creature on earth creates. You should welcome the process of creation. Save money and time. Have a reserve. I am a mighty creator, creatrix. It is my birthright to create. There is a good reason for the saying, busy as a beaver, for the beaver is truly an industrious animal. Not only do they create sophisticated architectural lodges, their semi-submersible homes, but they change the course of rivers and waterways through strategic damming. They create new environments for themselves and other animals. Like the beaver, we too can create with industriousness and vigor. Everyone is creative, not just those who are considered to be creative, such as artists, designers, musicians, and writers. We all can be encouraged to think more creatively, to solve problems outside of square solutions, to invent new ways, and to imaginatively break new trails. The moon is the moon of this moon is the moon of taking action. And I will say this, guys, last night's moon, or well, now it will be 2 nights ago, was a full moon in Aries, which would be about taking action too. This moon is a moon of taking action. Our northern hemisphere ancestors at this time would be preparing for winter. They would be preserving food, preparing skins, gathering medicines, strengthening their homes if they were not nomadic, and preparing to move to better hunting grounds if they were. Anyone who didn't work hard at this time would likely suffer greatly for it when winter came. The time to take action is now. The companion stone or metal is chrysoprase. So, remember, we're always creating no matter what. Where do we key into humanity? And remember to keep the dream alive, right? Even if that dream is evolving and changing at a much more rapid pace in today's world. But none of that is wrong, bad, or negative. Keep hope, guys. I think that this too will sort of settle at some point, and we will better understand and be feeling a lot more sound in the months to come, and maybe even, as the year ends. So that is your forecast for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.